Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Austria GP pyramid ranking. Zoe, back with Hannah.
What's up?
Anything we want to say before? I think we should, well, a couple things actually. One is we struggled with this pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably one of the harder pyramids we had to do just because things weren't so clear cut.
Right.
I also think it's important to say that this bottom row, okay, obviously 7 through 10 are the worst performers of the week.
Mm-hmm.
This third tier here is they didn't have it was not the best, but it wasn't the worst. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Good,
it's
not great.
it's not even good, not great.
Okay.
It's like
Better luck next time.
better luck next time.
Okay.
It's still not, it's not the worst, but it's still not good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like maybe they had one thing in their weekend that was good, but it was ultimately a
fail.
downer. The second tier is more good, not great, like strong, but there was a couple things that went wrong. And obviously the top is the top, because I feel like some people think we're going like number 1 to like the 10th best, but that's not what we're doing here.
Fair.
Because I know that the numbers kind of make it seem like it's like 7 is comparable to 6, but that's not really true.
Sure.
Anyway, just some clarity before we jump in. Anything else you want to add before we jump in?
No, you clarified perfectly.
Number 10.
So unfortunately, we had to put our sweet, reliable paid driver, Joe, in 10th place. Just not good.
He was struggling. I mean, qualified, I believe, P20.
Mm-hmm.
Started from the pit lane.
Yep.
He was being passed left and right.
Yeah.
Fernando hits him.
Which is just like, don't kick a man when he's down.
I know. He's just, and I think him, Checo, Logan have all been out qualified by their teammates in every single qualifying this season. Now, obviously, credit to Valtteri for doing well in qualifying, but when you're fighting for your life and fighting for a seat, I did hear that he was open to being a reserve driver next year.
Oh, I
think that would be good for him too. I feel like he'd be a good reserve driver
for sure.
Where? Who's to say? But I don't know. I do think his days are numbered.
Probably.
But he has had 3 seasons in Formula One.
Yeah.
And that's a lot more than most people can say.
Yeah.
A lot more than Logan Sargent.
Yeah. And I'm glad to know him.
I'm glad to know him too. He's brought his fashion. He's just seems like a nice guy. And I'm glad he got to race in China.
Me too.
Thank God.
100%.
Thank God.
Worth every moment.
Worth every moment. Exactly. Okay.
I don't even know what that means. But okay, number 9. We've got to give this one to Euksters. He had a rough one. Be honest, this is primarily for the fine.
Yeah. Inappropriate language. He also just was kind of nowhere this weekend.
Yeah.
He qualified, I believe, 14th in the sprint quali. He finished the sprint in 13th. So it doesn't matter. You know, obviously you only get points for the top 8. Then he, I believe, qualifies 14th for the race. I think he finished the race around 14. I don't exactly remember where he finished, but just kind of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like the worst weekend ever for him, but it just wasn't a great weekend for Mr. Yuki Tsunoda.
It was a toughie.
And and to pile on the fact that, you know, he gets fined for using inappropriate language, harmful language really, and you know, had to deal with all of that as well. It's just not the best. Okay. Number 8. Charles Leclerc. I can take your 8 for you. Thank you. Wow. I mean, he doesn't get the lap in time in the sprint quali.
Rough.
Because he is anti-stall. Then he damages everything, as he says, under his car in qualifying.
Yeah.
Then he gets the damage from Oscar, front wing damage.
Then he pit stops like 114 times.
Yeah, it's just...
At least they were quick.
At least they were quick. I mean, he did what he could, but not a great weekend for our boy Chuck.
No.
Not a great weekend for Chuck. But
no, it's pretty much... I don't know what happened last week, but it feels like since Monaco, it's been pretty
I'm honestly
downhill.
trying to remember what happened to him last week, and I can't really tell you.
So it's not good then.
Maybe, I mean, it wasn't bad.
But it wasn't something to talk about.
Yeah, it was not something, you know, let's give him something to talk about.
Yeah,
it was not.
Got it.
Who sings that song?
Is it the same person who sings You're So Vain, or is it different?
Carly Simon.
Yes, that's the name.
Let's see who it's by. Bonnie Raitt.
Oh, I think I maybe knew that actually. Bon.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Charles used up all of his good luck tokens on Monaco. You know, like he cashed in.
And, you know, I think in a lot of ways, he's fine with that. Because I don't think he could keep experiencing Monaco the way he was experiencing Monaco.
No.
And if that was the trade-off, I mean, you used to do this all the time where you're like, I'm willing to risk anything for this one moment. And then maybe he did make a deal with someone. And now the deal is
done.
Yeah.
The deal is coming home to roost.
Yeah. But they'll have Adrian soon, so hopefully that will
Maybe.
help.
I did hear that Adrian was potentially at Aston Martin factory recently.
Okay, I can't talk about
Who knows? Okay, and the final bottom of the podium spot goes to the Max pit stop that unfortunately led to Lando and Max fighting, which then led to...
See, you say unfortunately. I say Chinese farmer. This was a bummer for Red Bull.
It was a bummer for Red Bull.
It was a joy for me.
Yes, and this is all, yes. The Max pit stop, bad for Red Bull, but I think for lots of us, we all rejoice. But it wasn't good, and that was...
Well, it was quite literally the exact amount of time.
Yeah, the interval.
yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, that essentially was the reason that Max didn't win the race.
Yeah.
And
so I'm sorry to the guy who does
I don't remember what tire it was.
Back left.
Tough.
We all have bad days at the office,
we
man.
all remember.
And it's not your fault either. I
think it was stuck.
It was, and so I'm really sorry that it had to be your tire that was stuck. But the fan world thanks you. And I also didn't even at the time think about the fact that the Dutch army.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah! That they were in
the Orange Army, whatever we call them.
Yeah,
it was Red Bull Ring,
Ring.
I don't know. It's so interesting how I'm talking about Max and Red Bull because I do love Max and he's my favorite driver. But I think I've realized how much I appreciate competition and variance in Formula One. And so there was kind of something sweet about the fact that happened at the Red Bull Ring.
Yes. Well, and they've had plenty of good times. I would like to say, we've gotten the 4 different teams that have won races and different drivers that have won races. I would like to see a little bit of chaos in terms of the podium.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're getting the same few group of people on the podium every weekend, which is, and it is different, which is nice. But I would like to see a team from one of those outside, an Alpine, V-Carb,
Haas.
I kind of stopped myself there. And only, I would like to see one of the drivers that
Someone
I
else,
out of the top 4 teams, get on the podium. And that's basically 3 drivers.
Yeah.
4 drivers. You can decide who those are. So, and I think that would just be fun. That would be a fun little added spice. And maybe we'll get that at some point. We keep saying that we think that there's going to be, because we aren't going to COTA this year, that
something crazy is going to happen.
Well,
crazy.
Every time we go, Daniel has an absolutely atrocious race, and so now we're now that we're not going, he's going to get a podium.
Yeah, but do you know what? I know for you, if Daniel gets a podium, you have to be watching it on the television. I don't think that you would handle it well if you couldn't see all the action at one time.
True.
So, Chinese farmer.
Well, yeah, we'll have to see if he gets a podium. That's seems like so wishful thinking, but let's wish.
First of all, really quick, this was a really important graphic that she sent me, which is that I don't even know. I don't think it's based in science, although it could be.
It's astrology.
Well, okay, but I don't know if this person just if this is a real thing. Anyway, there was a ranking of the delusionality of signs. Not sure if that's a word. Pisces, me, number 1.
Yeah, most delusional sign or
least delusional, Pisces. Virgo, Zoe. Which is so interesting because we both do have this daydream fantasy, ability to just make up these wild what ifs. I'm the only one that's it could happen. Yeah. You have to be positive. And she's like, no, it's not going to happen. So
I told you it's because I've been hurt too many times.
I just think it's funny.
It is funny. It is really funny.
Because we both come up with the same types of stories.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to run into Travis and Taylor in Miami. I felt really sure that was a possibility. You didn't, and you were right.
Though I did have a delusion about running into Charles Leclerc in Monaco, and I did.
That's fair.
And I did. So,
but did you believe you would do that, or did you just like have a daydream about it and think that would be cool?
I was like, I want this to happen. Like, I don't know if I believed it necessarily would, but I felt like it's definitely a potential possibility. Yeah.
Well,
anyway, okay.
At least you have a track record of it working in the past.
Yeah, we'll get to once we get closer to COTA, I can become more and more delusional.
Okay, great.
Okay, number 6.
Number 6 goes to sweet Lando. Pretty okay weekend. Sprint. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Well, it was good, but it wasn't, because in the sprint, he qualifies second for it, and then he gets the lead, but then he gives it up, and then he loses the second place to Oscar.
Yeah.
Then in the race itself,
the race obviously,
and not his fault,
right?
But unfortunate. Mm-hmm. And this is not necessarily his fault that he's here, but I think he's going to go. Obviously, I think he's going to go home from this race being very disappointed in what happened. Yeah.
Well, and you were kind of talking about on the podcast about he gains an inch and loses a mile kind of a thing. And this I don't want to, the only word I can think of is maturity is just his positioning right now is so new, and his winning is so new. And, he's a young, arrogant professional athlete who wants to win. He's competing against the best of the best right now. And so he's making decisions that reflect only that and not thinking a few more steps ahead of what could happen, what he needs to do right after the move is made. And that puts him at risk. So even though the incident wasn't technically his fault, and I would say everyone but Red Bull would agree with that assessment, and maybe some people in Red Bull do. I don't know. Did we hear what Max had to say?
We haven't watched that yet.
But he just needs to.
He still has some learning to do.
And he's just excited about being good, and he's doing a little too much.
It's kind of like Max in the 2021 season with Lewis, just some things that are just a little bit, you're just learning how to race in the front. Yeah. And I know Lando and McLaren have had seasons where they have had chances to race in the front. Obviously, the 2021 season when Daniel won in Monza and Lando had chances to win at different races. But he was really young. I mean, he was 21. But he's still in that learning phase, and Max is the best.
Let's just all be honest. He's in his F-boy era.
Yeah, I mean, does that affect him on the track?
Yeah, of course it does. It's an energy, and not in a bad way. I'm just it's just a state of mind. It's a state of being. He's living from he's just all Lando all the time right now.
Yeah, and Max is the best. I mean, Max is the best, and it's very difficult to beat the best. Yeah, so he'll get there. Yeah, he'll get there. All right, can you do 5? All right, 5th on the pyramid is Williams. Williams has just struggled recently, and both struggling in qualifying, both struggling in the race, to be fair. I mean, Alex was kind of making some moves, but nothing that was going to make a big difference. No. And I was actually going to look up, so they take a while. It annoys me when they take a while to update the standings, but I was going to see where Williams falls in
also, were there any investigations that were pending after the race?
Not that I am aware.
That's good.
Okay, these points are way off. Okay. It has Daniel at 5 points. He has 12 now. But
is that the the app that you have, the widget thing?
No. Oh. It's but I think this might be correct. Okay, so yeah, Williams only has 2 points. They're in 9th right now. Alpine has 9, Haas has 19, and RB has 30. Tough for Williams. Okay, number 4 is the Paps photographers who were in the way, essentially, in that sprint they couldn't start the sprint on time.
They had to abort the start and
because people were in the way. You know, not like the worst thing ever, but also what are we doing here, people? Right. Sprints are already short, and now we've lost a lap.
Yeah, and honestly, like, it's quite possible that it was the photographer's fault, but it's also quite possible that someone told them that they could be there when they couldn't.
There's a lot of issues though with photographers like running across the pit lanes.
They just go kind of rogue like, all the time.
Danger, danger, danger. People getting way too close.
Yeah, I mean, guys, these cars are zooming.
Yeah, it's just not safe. And I don't know who's, it's just
I mean, the little lizards are one thing, but we certainly don't need a photographer going splat on the track. That would just be horrifying. Yes, I couldn't remember what the
lizards were in Singapore, I think.
Yeah.
I think and there's some other animals too that end up on the tracks at some places.
Yeah, birds.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a bird once that got? I feel like anyway, doesn't matter.
Okay. Number three.
I don't even remember. Oh yes. Oscar Piastri, Aussie sweetheart.
Oscar Pastry.
Oh, I love that we can use the pastry icon when talking about him. Great weekend. Had some moments.
Yeah, great to get P2 in the sprint.
Yeah.
But losing that time in qualifying.
Big bummer.
And then basically coming in, I mean, he did come in second place. And like, had he maybe started in his original spot, I think he would have won the race.
Yeah. Well, and it's also one of those things, if he had started in his original spot and everything else went exactly the same way, you know?
Sure.
It's just so hard.
It's so hard.
Because if he would have started in his original place, we may have never had those incidents.
So true.
It's just hard to know.
It's hard to know.
But I think he drove really well today. It's just nice. I don't know. I mean, I'm really enjoying McLaren right now, and like seeing them doing well is fun. I like their dynamic. I
love
appreciate
Oscar
that
so
Daniel's
much.
coming to his defense. I know. I love him. And I think you sent it to me recently, but his meme after the skydiver whiffed his landing is like recirculating again, and it's just like, didn't you say it was like the moment
in Austria
you fell in
last
love?
year?
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
Yeah.
I obviously did not
in that moment that. I knew that I would love Oscar forever.
Yeah, and it's just so like that encapsulates everything I love about him.
Yeah,
and I'm just really glad he's here.
He's just.
And his win's coming soon. I feel that in my core.
It is coming soon.
I think we'll get a win this season.
I'm very curious to see how Oscar reacts to winning a Formula 1 race.
I think he'll smile a little bit bigger, and that's about it. Truly.
And I love that about him.
I know, it's kind of sweet.
I just love that he's just like...
Because I know inside...
Yeah, he loves to race. But, and he loves what he does, and he's happy and excited, but he's just...
I wonder if he's a crier. Like, not like a...
I don't think so.
Not like the way George cried when he won his first race, and I'm not in a bad way, but like, you know, do his eyes well up?
Yeah, I don't
Probably
know.
Probably
I don't know.
We'll see.
He's just a gem, and I've said, I'm just so happy. It's so nice when you really like a new driver that you know is going to be on the grid for a very long time.
Yeah,
and
I really like Oscar and Lando together. I like their dynamic.
Yeah,
off track at least
for now. I feel like who knows what could happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully no Mercedes. Okay.
Number 2, good, not great, or good weekend, Haas.
Sorry, I took all the H off.
That's okay. Haas had a very strong weekend, not so much in the sprint and any of that, but the race itself. Nico coming in 6th, which is, I mean, that's 8 points. That is a lot of points to pick up. Beating Checo to the line. Very impressive from him. And then K-Mag as well, coming home, getting 4 points in 8th.
It's very exciting. And they were getting chummy this weekend. They were watching football together.
Because Denmark played Germany in the Euros yesterday. Germany won. So, you know, Nico keeps winning.
Darn.
But yeah, they were watching the game together, and how far we've come.
Truly.
From suck my balls, mate, to
a friendly football game.
And scoring 10 points in a weekend is a big haul for a midfield team. That is a lot.
Yeah.
And so congratulations to them. And
just as they're getting, you know, in the swing of things together, they're being ripped apart.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very like,
really
when are they going to announce Ollie?
I don't know.
Maybe Silverstone because he's British. Yeah, maybe Silverstone. Which I'm so excited for Ollie.
And we don't, I mean, our assumption is that Kevin's not getting a seat.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be.
Gonna miss Laura.
I think it's gonna be Ollie and Esteban.
So number 1,
top of the pyramid this week is George, but specifically Yabba Dabba Doo. Now, I know there's going to be some confusion. Where's Max on this list? Now, Max did have a great weekend. He gets pole in the sprint quali. He wins the sprint race. He gets pole in qualifying. But the penalty, losing, coming back, I think he finished 5th. Is that what we said? Yeah. Also we need to kind of
be on the board every week.
Yeah. And George, did George deserve the top spot this week? This was part of the debate, was like, not debate. We were trying to figure out who gets that top spot, because he had fine performances and was very much so gifted the win, but he was in the right place at the right time to capitalize. But really, it was the Yabba Dabba Doo, which sealed the deal for us, because no one else gives us that kind of post-race content like George. Also, George on the podium, literally pointing at people, giving them a fist bump, just AI to the max.
Posing, he's great. And I think it's just like so important that we identify the fact that it's something he says often enough that it was top of mind when he won today.
Well, he said that's how we roll for his first win. And then Yabba Dabba Doo. It's like, what else could we get?
Well, what was the other thing that he said that your dad really loves?
Oh, sugar?
Oh, yeah.
That was when he got out in qualifying.
Yeah, I know. But it's just full of one-liners.
Full of one-liners.
Earnestness and happiness and joy. And during God Saves the King, I don't know if that's the actual name of it. I just
God Save the King,
it
yeah.
is. We got a little teary.
Yep.
I'm bummed Carmen wasn't there.
I know.
Was she? She wasn't there for the first one either, was she?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. We also heard the German national anthem as well. So 2 different anthems. Toto getting a win in his home country.
Yep. Hot. He's hot. And it was nice to see him outside of the garage with a smile on his face.
Yeah. Toto and Fred getting chummy. Their
friendship's my favorite.
We need a buddy cop comedy.
Well, you know how I want them to go to a vineyard the way that Gunter and Matteo went to went to, sorry, I was thinking about Matteo Berrettini.
I wish.
Yeah, hot.
I wish.
But yeah, I need them to go on like a day date for a picnic or something.
And
like I just want to see them in a little car. Toto's huge, Fred's short. I just
No, but they're very much so Home Alone. I mean, Fred is Joe Pesci.
Yeah. And I know who you're talking about, but I've only seen like 10 minutes of that movie, which I recognize is a crime, and I was about to tell you that I'm really, really sorry about that.
Wow, really?
Yeah. It's something I'm not proud of.
All of them you haven't seen? Oh my gosh.
There's some of the scenes I've seen, obviously. And then the Kevin, yeah.
Anyway. Wow, okay. Well, yeah, that's surprising. But yeah, Fred is always very, we saw Fred obviously in the McLaren celebration when Lando won Miami, and he's someone who's, I'm going to celebrate everyone.
And I appreciate that.
100%.
Because Fred's the man. And honestly, Fred's a mob boss mentality.
Godfather. He's the Godfather.
And the way that you do that well is by making friends with everybody.
Yeah. Keep your enemies close. Keep your
friends close. Enemies closer.
There we go.
Air hug. Good for us.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, I feel like Fred, when we ask people the question, like when we have guests on for the dinner party, like who do you want? You get to bring 3 drivers, 1 principal. I feel like now the tide's turning. I feel like it used to always be Toto. But now people are bringing Fred.
Yeah. But Fred just didn't have the same spotlight he does now.
100%. No, he did not.
Fred and Otmar would definitely, and I'm sorry, I'm bringing Otmar as an honorable mention, but like they'd be at my dinner. The photos we'd get because Toto. Otmar's there, always
selfie.
Snapping.
Yeah. Such good selfies.
Has he been to races recently? I feel like I haven't seen him in a while. I'll have to check his feed. I hope his business is going well. Love him.
Bonjour.
Wow. Okay.
Bonjour. Feliz cumpleaños. If you know, you know. All right. That is our pyramid ranking for Austria. Congratulations to those at the top, and sorry if you're at the bottom.
Yeah.
Let us know if you have a different opinion of the pyramid, or who you'd put in these positions. happy to hear from you all. We'll be back with our pyramid next week for Silverstone. Hopefully we'll have a brand new person at the top.
Oh, I was like, are we getting a new board? I understand.
I am manifesting. I need a Lewis something.
Someone from something.
I just need it so, like, come on. We need the Lewis win. He certainly does. We said this before, but like the two monkeys on our backs as fans, Lewis win and Daniel podium.
For sure.
We've never seen either of those two things happening. And like, I think the Lewis win is more likely to happen than a Daniel podium at this current stage of the performance. Juncture. But, you know, anything's possible, I suppose.
And with the Daniel thing, I would settle for a sprint podium at this point.
Literally would settle for a top 5. I would. I mean.
No, you wouldn't. Don't say that.
I'd settle for a re-signing.
Okay. Sure.
Like if someone said he can't get a podium this year, but he can get re-signed
and try again next year.
I'll take
okay,
it.
That's
try
fine.
again next year.
That's fair because then the dream's not dead.
The dream's not dead. And Lewis, we know Ferrari next year. Like maybe the dream was coming next season for him too. But I'm just tired of waiting around.
Amen.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching this pyramid ranking, and we'll see you guys next week.
Enchanté.